You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
The secret to well-being is discovering the power that is your birthright, the power to create a happier, healthier life, drawn from our own vast internal resources. Join Jules and her guests as they gently guide you to shift your perspective from the familiar negative to the divinely connected, a place that will not only positively impact your world, but possibly shift the planet. It's all right here on Law of Attraction Talk Radio.
Well, welcome to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I'm Jules from beautiful Southern California, and I'm so glad you could be with me. We've got a great show for you tonight, and it's all about overcoming great obstacles and learning how to deal with them by shifting away from them and moving into something that you absolutely love. And this was the case for Shelley L. Hallmark, who has a tremendous story, and you're going to hear all about it. And what inspired her to start Once Upon a Blog, Then and Now, as well as her brand new book. And it really is inspirational, that is designed to help you to move forward, keep going, and to start loving life. That's what this show is all about. So without further ado, we are going to take a fast break, and then we'll be right back with Shelley L. Hallmark.
It's here, it's hot, and it's a must read. It's the science behind the Law of Attraction magazine. Every issue brings you great articles and in-depth how-tos from all your favorite Law of Attraction experts, authors, scientists, and medical professionals. Go to lawofattractionmagazine.net. That's lawofattractionmagazine.net.
Well, welcome, Shelley Hallmark, to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I'm so glad you could come on today.
Thank you for having me. I really look forward to speaking with you.
Well, thank you. You know, you have got a really amazing story. And I think it's so important for people to understand all of the things that you've gone through. It's just an inspirational message, and gosh, I don't know a person in the world who can't benefit from hearing about you and reading your book and really understanding that no matter how horrific life gets, you can always see the beauty that still exists. So with that, Shelley, start from the beginning. Tell us your really great story.
So from the time I was young, I've always utilized, when my thinking was the law of attraction thinking, although at the time I wasn't aware that it was until The Secret came about. And I thought, well, that was just my way of life. I didn't know it was a secret. So it was interesting to see it all kind of laid out there, and just knowing that was my way of being. I used it pretty precisely to how they describe it, to draw in the things that I wanted in life, as well as get rid of the things I didn't want in my life. So especially my daughter was born 3.5 months premature, and so she was 1 pound 7 ounces and very tiny. And of course, the doctors have to give you all of the, what's going on with her and the bad news, basically. And the whole time I just thought, okay, that's good. You can have, I hear you, but I see it differently. And from the very beginning, I could always see her coming home. And I just fed that, that thought process into her when I would, hold her, touch her, anything. And she did. She came home, and she's been thriving ever since. And it's just, and I think that that law of attraction is kind of innately in her as well. because she just kind of gets through things.
So tell us, how long was she in the hospital before you could bring her home?
She was actually in the hospital for 108 days.
Wow.
And she came home on the day she was supposed to be born, which I thought was kind of ironic.
Wow, talk about a manifestation.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And actually, prior to her being born, I had watched this TV show. It was about cloning, I think, or something like that. But the feature of it was to watch the fetus develop outside, so they could see the changes visually from a medical perspective. And I saw that show, and I thought, oh, this morning sickness. I wish I could watch her from the outside. And I ended up having that occur, is that I ended up, and I thought, oh my gosh, did I speak that into existence? But it wasn't that at all. It was just that there were so many positive things that she brought me from being born so prematurely and having so many challenges that have changed me in ways I don't think I would have changed without it.
Do you, what was the diagnosis from the doctor?
From the time she was born, they said she would have challenges. Initially, they listed a whole pile of them, but the one is she has mild cerebral palsy, and then later assessed with mild autism. And yeah, with the autism, they assessed her early, and thankfully, because of the autistic intervention, she's kind of veered away from a lot of the issues that she had autistically, and has, and she's actually not on the spectrum. I'm not really very familiar with the entire spectrum of autism, but she does have, enough of them for them to say, yes, we need to help her out. And they've pulled her away from it because of the earlier intervention, which has been, very beneficial.
Give us the scenario when you brought the baby home. What was it all about? What were some of the things that were really made you stop and think, can I get through this?
Oh, I'd have to say almost every minute of every day. I was like that. I was terrified to be away from the hospital, thinking, what if something happens and I don't know how to do, what they're doing there? And it's a huge responsibility just to have children, but to be medically responsible for them as well when they have so many challenges and needs. It's and not knowing, a first-time mother, not knowing not knowing much about caring for babies. Not enough that, I babysat, but that wasn't really a comparison. And it was, plus, she was so tiny. She was 5 pounds when she came home. Wow. Which was still tiny. I mean, she was 1 pound 7 ounces when she was born, but she was still tiny at 5 pounds when she came home. So, and it was just everything. I was on high alert, just panicked, thinking, oh my gosh, what if something goes wrong? What am I going to do? And it was terrifying for me. And I called the hospital a lot. They probably got sick of me.
So it was like you were doing this and being consumed by this anxiety for like 24/7.
Definitely, yes. 24/7, yeah. Anxiety ridden, just, and I didn't, well, for the first 3 days, she actually didn't sleep much because it's, it's an adjustment from for the hospital to the home. The baby she also had the anxiety as well because of the change. So, and then of course that put me on anxiety, and then we were just kind of, and I didn't know how to calm her at times. So it was, I called the hospital a lot, and my mother. But it was, I think I just kept asking for help from my loved ones that weren't actually physically here, and I felt that there was a lot of assistance in that way for me.
Did you get signs from the universe or from the past ones, the transition people? Did you get signs of how to go forward, or?
I would find that there were synchronicities continually happening. Just, when I would think about something and like it would come into my mind and I think, oh, there's something I need, and then I would find it. Or, I would be thinking about something that something else that I needed to do, and then someone would call and then they would have that for me. It was just kind of all just, serendipities and synchronicities just kind of fell into place for me. All because my thoughts are, manifesting them. I'm basically brainstorming in my mind to try and manage and handle and stay ahead of things so they don't go south.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like it was a background piece of it was manifesting in the background as my thoughts were racing. So
interesting. So it was really a very difficult situation. And did you feel over time it was lessening, that you felt more in control of what was happening, or when did that take place?
I used at first I would get comfortable and then something different would happen and then I'd be thrown off balance again, and then I would find every time I started to get a little bit too comfortable, something would change. Thankfully, my daughter's 19 now, and she's been steady for the last 3-4 years, so I've been able to get really comfortable and less anxiety. I think the writing has helped me through that, though, a lot too, as well, because writing out my thoughts and talking out with people as well. I love talking with people, and I think the best part about being able to communicate with others is that you can get different perspectives, find different options, so you don't feel so isolated and alone. And the worst thing is feeling like you have no option and you only have one road to take.
Yeah. So when did you start going out to talk to other people? How many years down the road?
Oh, that was actually from the beginning, I would say, definitely, yes, because I was my relationships with the doctors, very ongoing. We had many visits with doctors quite frequently. At the beginning, I think it was about every 3 to 6 months. She was actually every 3 months for the first year, and then it had dropped back to every 6 months, and then there would be specialists involved because she would have challenges because as she was growing, because she was born so prematurely, she wasn't able to, her muscles and didn't develop properly, so they weren't growing properly, so she had to have surgeries and stuff. So over the course of 19 years, she's had 25 surgeries.
Oh my goodness.
And they've done exams where they just put her out, which, to do an exam because she won't sit for them. And she's had about 10 of those. So yeah, I used to get really anxious around hospital times of any kind of anything like that. It was quite.
Was it because you felt like you were going to be releasing your control to somebody else?
Yeah, it's very difficult because as a mother, your innate maternal instinct is to protect,
right,
and take care of them and keep them from harm. And when your child, the doctors aren't hurting your child, but they're still touching her and doing things that upset her and bother her, and so she's getting anxious about it, and of course in turn that makes me anxious, and then I think, stop, don't do that. Yeah. But it's they're really just trying to help her, which they were. It's hard to release that though.
but I don't care who the doctor is, they don't know the child like a mother does. Definitely.
And they've actually, and because I've had so many hospital visits, they've actually relayed that to me in the last 4 to 5 years, is that they've realized they need to include the parents a little bit more, because they do know the children more than just the medical side of it. So
good. Glad to hear that. And I'm glad to hear that you were instrumental in that as well, because it's through you that they recognized what it is that they could be missing.
Yeah, I think myself and many other parents as well too, because we get vocal when our children are, stop doing that. You have to, be careful here, and no, that's not it. Because you know them better.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know everything about them.
Yeah. So, but that would make me very anxious if I had to relinquish them to a doctor. It's like,
Yes.
oh, no, 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 no. Yeah.
Yes.
I can understand. That would be
Very
very,
nerve-wracking. Yeah.
yeah. So when did you start discovering, because you were already talking to new people to get their perspectives, and also starting to, I'm sure, relay your perspectives to them. So it was like a mutual information club, shall we say.
Yes. Yes.
But when was it that you started writing?
I think because I was putting so much into caring for my daughter and her world around her that I was neglecting my own. So it got to a point where I was just completely drained, and basically like emotional rock bottom, just spiritually bankrupt. And so I just started writing out my thoughts, and it just I picked up a journal and a pen, and I started writing, and then 6 months later I was done writing my first book, which was Finding the Balance, which is what I titled it, and that's what brought me back to finding balance. And from then on, I just kept using that avenue to kind of talk myself all out of things. It was almost like going to a therapist every day. I would actually love to do that. It would get costly because I just love to talk and find different perspectives and ideas and ways to do things. So, I think it's so confining to not have any hope. And that's kind of how I felt at the time, because I had drained myself so much.
And what year was that? Was that like in her 5th year, or was it 10th year? Or?
That was when she was, holy, I should know this. That was when she was 10 or 11. So I'd have been, for 11 years, I'd been just inputting everything into her and completely neglecting myself. And it's a lot of work, and especially when I was single parent, so it made it even more so.
Wow. Yeah, difficult. So you didn't have a partner there to help you out.
Not shoulder it as much. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So when you wrote Finding the Balance, when did you discover that you were lacking in the spiritual beauty? When did you discover that?
I think because, when I started writing it, the reason is because I had felt like I didn't have any. It's not that I didn't have any hope. It was more that my dreams felt like they weren't going to ever occur, and I thought, I've got to get that back. I can't just live in this hopeless state and just put everything in here. That's not living. That's existing. And I don't want to do just that. I want to enjoy life. I want to be able to enjoy more with my daughter and provide more for her so she enjoys it as well. Because if I'm stressed, then she's going to be stressed as a result, because you end up passing it along to people as you encounter others. And so I think I started reading some books, specifically started with Wayne Dyer. I loved him. Started reading his books, and he was the one who kind of inspired me back into, his train of thought was exactly the same as mine was from the beginning. And I thought, yeah, that's what I need to get back onto. And so when I started writing, it just kind of all just kind of fell right out onto the paper. And it still does. At times I get stumped on, writer's block type idea. But it's more, I'm more or less looking at what I feel from the people around me as well, because I see others struggling and stuff.
Yeah. So when your daughter was 10, was she able to walk around? Was she able to move? What was going on with her?
Her mobility was actually quite limited. She had, like I said, she had the muscles that didn't really grow, so they had to do muscle lengthening surgeries in both legs. And then she also had, because she was born so premature, her eyes didn't fully develop and had to have 6 surgeries on her eyes. So she wore glasses, and they were really, really thick. But they couldn't really tell exactly what her vision was without her being able to confirm it, because she's nonverbal. So as a talker, it's really difficult to have a nonverbal person in my company all the time. I just want to talk and talk and talk, and she's not giving me anything back. It's a little frustrating at times, but she has her own communication.
That's what I was gonna ask. In what ways can she communicate with you?
She's created her own sign language that we've kind of developed together. In addition to that, I don't know, somehow there's a lot of times where I know what she's saying when I've got my back turned to her. So I could be reading it. I don't know.
Intuitively.
Yes, intuitively, just knowing what she needs at any given time. Now that could also be because I've put so much into her care and her life that I know every corner of it. So how could I not know exactly what she's wanting at every time, almost? So yeah, but yeah, she's created her own sign language, and she forces others to adapt to her. So
that's good. So she's got a personality.
Definitely, she's actually got quite a sense of humor. She really, for someone who doesn't talk, she tends to talk a lot, is my saying all the time, because she always wants to communicate with people. She's always got her hands out to touch them and talk, and she wants you to translate for her so she can have a conversation with people. And she's very interested in communicating with other people.
So you can communicate or talk for her?
Yes.
So you have this innate ability to pick up what she's trying to ask.
Yes.
Can you give us some examples of that?
Let's see here. Well, a lot of times when she sees someone, or someone is approaching us, and she starts, I'll say hello to them, and then she'll start waving, and then she'll grab a hold of someone, and she'll want to talk, and she'll want to tell them that she got her hair cut today, or she had pancakes for breakfast, or something like that. So she does her own little signs. So she'll rub her stomach, saying that, and say like the P, like puh, and say that that's pancakes. Or she'll touch her hair, and I had my hair cut, and she's very proud of it. I went to the dentist, and she starts smiling how her teeth are so pretty. So that's what she wants to tell everyone, all of these things, like, look what I did today. She's very proud of herself, because there's not a lot that she can do. So when she wants to tell people all about it.
Wow. Well, you had mentioned that your life became so consumed by her that you couldn't live your dreams. Did you discover or really put into written words the dreams that you wanted for you?
I think that, so my first book was kind of my journey walking out of that darkness. And then my Once Upon a Blog book is a collaboration of all of the blogging I've done over the last 6 years, which have carried me through that time. So I think that I kind of, talk myself through these things and work myself. And as I'm going, I'm always talking about what I want to see in the world, which is cultivating, happy, a much happier environment. I think that there's so many challenges and discouragements for people that it's so important for them to connect with one another and believe in themselves and not give up. Because there's no limit on what we can achieve at any time, age, anything, whatever impedes you. It only impedes you because I think the biggest part that will impede you is your mind telling you can't do something.
Right. But you were still very much involved with her, but did you ever start thinking about your own dreams of what you wanted for yourself? I mean, like, have a relationship, have extra funds, have parties or something like that. Did you ever think of what it was that would make you, or was it still consumed by your beautiful daughter?
I would say it was a blend of the two of them, but definitely I do have my dreams as well. I want to have, I want to have family around and enjoy life and go and do things that make my soul happy, and as well as provide for her at the same time. There's not a lot of things, there's a few things that we can't do together because there's some things that I couldn't drag her through. It wouldn't be, she wouldn't enjoy it. So there's some things and of course there's some things I want to do on my own as well, because I can't be joined at the hip with her all the time. I have to, you have to have your own personal time. And so my writing to go in the direction of, my goal is to write. I also want to, I honestly, in the future perspective of it, I look at thinking I want to do the seminar type idea and have the big groups and, inspire as many people as I can globally, just because I think that there's just so much stuff, world stuff that's dragging us, that drags us down at times, that we need more light. And that's what I want to bring about, is more light, so that, people start believing in themselves again and sharing with others, and, just generally enjoying more of life instead of just existing.
So what would you tell people that they need to focus on, or how to get out of their thoughts? In other words, stay focused but have unfocused time.
I would say to get more spiritually connected to their soul, honestly. It's the human ego factor that is the mind that takes us down, and our soul at its core doesn't have any of that holding it back. So if they get in touch with their inner child, that's, how we were as children, that's what they need to get back. Not necessarily, a lot of maybe some of the silly things as well, but, not having people care for you type idea and don't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what children do all the time. It's just that as a child, that's what I was. I was very coddled and didn't have to, my parents were very good to me. And so I had lots of experiences and friends and just lots of really good times. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing in their lives. We go to work, we come home, we go to sleep, we do it again, and then we have 2 days on the weekend, and and it just bombards people. And I think that in order to, a weekend retreat of getting in touch with just your soul at its core, I think that would be enough to ignite the spark, Yeah. And then from there you just grow it, keep doing things that nourish your soul.
Yes, like for you, it's writing.
Yes.
Writing does it. Well, now writing for some people just wouldn't work. What would you suggest?
It would all depend on what they were drawn to. I think. I think that anything creative, for me, because I'm drawn to all sorts of creativity things. Not just writing. I love cooking, and I love clothes, so fashion, but that's all a creative process, and it's just anything in that area I find to be nourishing to my soul. Also spending time with my friends, like it's the good food, good wine, good friends, good company, that thing. It's that as well. I think that it's important to reconnect in there, for someone to find what theirs would be. I think that's whatever honestly, I believe it's whatever you the things that you had in your mind as a child, like not everyone's going to go out at 40 and be a fireman or, okay, I'm 50 years old now and I wanted to be a doctor, or I wanted to be, it's not like they could, but I think it's more of that was the job goal. As children, what did we want to do that was fun, that made us feel good? I think that's what they need to get in touch with and find. And I think that's how they'll find what they're interested in doing. And it's usually your hobby that brings you the most enjoyment. So something that's, a hobby that you can turn into something that you do for, for work, or even, it nourishes everything.
So just taking a walk and being with nature is a very spiritual experience, noticing and to keep your focus off of the situation that you're in, but to experience what the beauty of life is all about would at times bring you back into that center place.
Yes. Actually, my first book I wrote, a lot of it I wrote was I would go to the beach and I would just sit out there. And I mean, it was February, so it wasn't warm, not here in Vancouver. It's kind of chilly. But I would sit out there and I just listen to the waves and let them go. Or I'd go out by the lake, or down by the, there we have a walkway along a couple of lakes. So it's, like that. And I just sit out there and then I just write and write and write. And then I just found that, because that is true, nature does ground you. It does make you feel more connected. And at one point, I think I went to a beach actually recently in Portland, Oregon, and a girlfriend of mine and I were there, and we were standing on the beach, and I swear, I mean, I wasn't, we weren't drinking or anything like that, but I swear I could feel the movement of the earth. I think it's because I was standing on the beach, the water was going back and forth, and I could just feel this kind of symbiotic sense going with the earth. It was almost like I could feel it rotating, but I don't. But it's that nature aspect of it that it I don't know. It just it inspires. It's nourishing, and I think it really heals.
Yeah. So you're able to do things on your own without your daughter? Is there someone that can take care of her while you're not there?
Yes, as I said, she just turned 19, so she has a different care plan now. There's no more going to school and after school care. Our government here has care facilities and things like that, so she'll have in-home care. And so now that gives me a lot more freedom going forward now, since she turned 19.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
So what do you see for your future?
For my future, I want to have a career in writing. I want to do this. I want to do, seminars I want to meet as many people as I can and get out there and try and inspire as many people as I can. I want to be able to provide for my family, so they have, everyone. I just want to see everyone happy. That's really what it is I just want to see that everyone is taken care of and that they're happy. So I hate to see people not being taken care of. Like I want to help others find that too.
Yes. And that's important. So you've got a major message to get out. But I noticed one thing: you want to keep on writing books, but you didn't say anything about being a best-selling author.
Oh yes, definitely. I would love that. I'd be so grateful for that. Yes, I would definitely love that.
You want to be a best-selling author, and you want the money that comes along with it, so that you can provide all these wonderful things for all your friends, and you can travel and you can do everything. Have you thought about traveling with your daughter?
I have. We actually, when I did take her on a vacation, a couple actually, I took her to Hawaii in 2006 when she was, I took her to Mexico in 2006 and then Hawaii in 2008. So she was a 10 or something, 8 years old in 2008, whatever. And she was 6 for one of them and 8 for the other. And, she had a good time. The autism aspect of it was that we spent our time on the beach, and all she wanted to do walk into the water and then walk back out, and then walk in and then walk out. So we did that for a good hour or so. But now I don't know if I would want to take her. It's a lot of work for her. She had a surgery in 2013. She had scoliosis. So she had the scoliosis surgery, and they put the steel rods in her back.
Oh my goodness.
She's got 22 screws in there as well. Besides the airport nightmare she might be following the surgery, because she was so depleted from all of the surgical part of it, the weight loss and everything. She ended up having a seizure, which detached her only good retina. So she has vision in only one eye. So for her, she just wants to stay where she's at, enjoy, she likes her videos and her computer. She loves all of that electronics. She just wants to stay and be comfortable there, have her food, have her computer, and that's what she enjoys. So I let her have that.
So when she sees you after you take a little break and you go out and...
No excitement.
No excitement?
So disappointed.
She doesn't smile or anything like that?
I went away for a week on vacation at the beginning of July, and I thought, oh good, I get to see her reaction when I come home. She's going to be so excited. She didn't care. She just wanted to tell me about what she had done, which is, that's good. She was excited to tell me that. I guess that's exciting, but I was hoping for more of a hi, not so much.
I wonder how she reacted while you were gone.
The girl that I had taking care of her, she's a really good friend, and actually very much like family for us. So it was no transition at all. It was actually just like having a family member with her. So I think if she had been with someone else who wasn't a family, who didn't feel like a family member, it might have been a different response when I came home.
Yeah.
But it was just, going from one, having one person there who knows everything about her to having the other person come back and come in. So
yeah, interesting. So now, if you had seminars, what would you be standing up and saying to those people who are going through so much? Would you become like their coach? And help them to maneuver the emotions, actually, because
that's what I'd like.
A whole gambit of emotions that I'm sure would happen.
Yes, that's what I would like to do. Is definitely help people through and to navigate through the things that are making them feel paralyzed and helpless. I don't think anyone should have to feel like that, and that's what I would love to do. I want to help people get away from that, so they can, have successful, enjoyable lives as well. I don't like to see people suffer. It's yeah.
So your expertise is with a child, but because of that emotion, and I would think that there's no stronger emotion than the love for a child, and seeing and not being able to visualize that child, grow into so many other things, know. So, but that's your expertise, but that emotional issue could relate into anything. It could relate into a person who has had a person die.
Yes.
That has just feels like they're failing, just stuck in their emotions and can't move forward.
Yes, it's the nurturing component of that I think is my biggest asset, because I can empathize and relate, and it's not just that I want to say and nod my head and say, yeah, I know what you mean. It's more like, I can really understand the struggles. I may not know exactly every struggle, but I can certainly put myself in that position and and wonder how it would affect me and what I would do and how I would feel. And so when I put myself in their shoes in that kind of perspective to try and understand, I think it's that combined with the nurturing component that I think that's my greatest asset in helping.
So what, you have a blog now.
I do, yes.
So what's the name of it and how can people go?
It's shelleyhallmark.me, and it's on WordPress. And they just type in shelleyhallmark.me and they'll find it. It goes right to it. And I actually haven't posted in the last month or so, just because things have been so busy in life. But I do want to get back on a regular schedule, because I find that I get myself out of sorts when I don't write enough. I have to dispel the things that are building up inside. It's kind of like, having things, it helps you get things off your chest.
Yeah.
And that's really what people need to do. A lot of people, are stuck in emotion because they don't have the opportunity to talk about it.
Yes,
Because talking about it helps them release it.
So are you open to receiving letters from people or emails from people in which you can connect with them and perhaps give them a suggestion or two?
Definitely. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Wonderful. Well, how do they get that? What's your email address?
So they can reach me on, in addition to my blog, because my blog has a comment thing, although that would be posted online. So if they wanted to reach me personally, then they can contact me at srhallmark@telus.net.
Okay. And that's good. So anyone who is stuck and needs an inspiration and needs some advice to find your passion so that you can move forward as Shelley did, I highly suggest this. And believe it or not, I don't know if you've taken any courses for life coaching, but I can see you as a major life coach in which to really help people.
I haven't taken any courses. I've taken a few. I actually took a course because I was born with some gifts as well. So I took some mediumship mentoring in the last year, and I'm an empath as well. So that is part of the, I have that. A lot of times when I'm writing, it's hard to discern whether the thoughts coming in are mine or if I'm pulling them from somewhere else. So, but it blends in nicely, and that's really, because Spirit knows what they want to convey to the world. So if I can help bring that message in, then that's, and I can usually connect with that's how I say that I connect with people empathically, is because I can actually feel what they're going through, and not probably as deeply as them, but a level of it to help.
Yeah, and that's actually, there's a good and bad side to being an empath. One is what you discovered because you were feeling your daughter's emotions as well.
Yes.
And so that made it extremely difficult, and where you got to the point where you had to start writing to save your own life.
Yes. And actually, one of the things, when she was in the hospital for her scoliosis surgery, because she got an infection following it and had to stay in there for a month. And I wouldn't let anyone come visit me because I had enough of my emotions sitting on the surface that I couldn't manage their sympathy as well, because I couldn't control. My emotions were sitting right up here at the surface. And so for someone to come in and feel sorry for me, it was just, then I had to try and make them feel better.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the energy to do that. So, yeah.
So that's really fascinating. So that's where your intuitive skills are coming into play, because you can feel them. Yeah. And that's very important. And it sounds like you have now discovered how to protect yourself from all those. When you're done with the session, you can walk away and say, wow, okay.
Yes, actually, the mediumship, the mentorship in medium, that was that was my best help to learning how to protect myself, because I was basically walking around open. Prior to that, if you can visualize it, it's like, having a piece of felt on a wall and throwing a Velcro ball at it. That's kind of what people's energy was coming at me like, and I would just be stuck with them all day long. And so once I learned how to protect myself, I didn't have to absorb it. And that was a big help for me.
That's really important. That's really important. That's so interesting. So I think, and the mediumship, what was that about? It was about people who have passed?
Yes, when I was a child, I used to see spirits. My grandmother, other spirits that some that I didn't know. And when I was younger, it was, no one really knew it's not as accepted as it is now. So my mother thought, oh God, you're just crazy. Which she didn't want to actually say to me. She didn't. But I was terrified and had no one to help me through it or help me understand. So in which case, I think, they don't want to scare you. So it just kind of backed off a bit. So I don't actually physically see them in manifestation anymore, but I can still feel them. I just didn't realize that it had transcended into another form within me until I took this mediumship program.
Wow. That's exciting. So on another note, because we're almost out of time, but I did want to ask you, because you're intuitive, have you discovered about your daughter's life's purpose? What it means?
I think her life purpose was to awaken me, honestly. Without her, I don't think I would have. I was very, it wasn't that I was really flighty. I just wasn't very aware when I was younger. And I think that I needed to have that awareness kind of shocked into me so I would, wake up. I think that's really what it was. We're I think as each other we're soul partners in that we came in as for the purpose of coming in together to create this. Yeah.
You came in to create this, but also so that you could help other people.
Yes,
through what
definitely.
you discovered.
That's exactly it. I think that had she not woken me up, I wouldn't have discovered this. I don't think.
So no matter what happens, everything is kind of a blessing in disguise, would you say?
I would definitely say, even the bad stuff, there's always something positive that comes out of it. Whether that is learning something new, developing a part of yourself, or just connecting more with others. There's always something positive to come out of it.
So for all of the listeners that are watching this or listening, there's you just don't have to give up on life. You can wake up and see and know that if you don't understand it now, you will eventually, and you will be so grateful for that experience. After all, that was the reason that you came to this planet, to experience your humanness anyway.
Yes.
And to master that is, wow.
Yes.
That's where you get your power, right?
I actually, a lot of people have said to me that not a lot of people, some have said to me that they say, how do you do it? It's so, it's such a big job taking care of my daughter. And I think, well, honestly, I think I had the perfect child for me, because there's a lot of, I did all of those things when I was younger. I went out and I, experienced things, played, sports and all that. And I think, I don't know how my mother let me go. I would just be, don't get yourself hurt, So I can keep her safe and here all the time. And she's, she's always she's not gonna, she grows in age and evolves, but she's kind of stays in this one space of being a little bit of a child, but also a little bit of an adult. It's like this really beautiful blend.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a great perspective. So,
And my great saying for that is that I play the hand I was dealt like it was the one that I wanted.
perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. So, what's on the horizon? Are you writing another book?
I do. I actually have a third book that I have a couple of books in the works, but I have a fictional story that I want to write. Fiction's a lot harder to come up with because you're making things up. Whereas, when I'm doing my self-help writing, it's more of a how I'm feeling thing. Whereas when I'm making things up, it's more of a, I mean, I don't have to be accurate on anything, which is great. So I don't have any constraints there, but it's a little bit harder to write. But the idea is it's a storyline that has 4 characters, and the end of it is going to have an overall self-help theme. And it's basically about where your choices in life, each one matters, no matter how big or how small, and where they, looking back to see where the choices you've made have taken you.
How wonderful.
So to have people think, really think before you do.
I love that. Well, we want to encourage everyone to go get your book, and you can get it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Balboa, and it's called Once Upon a Blog. Let me say that again. Once Upon a Blog, Then and Now, by Shelley L. Hallmark. And let's send everybody to your website too. Let me have your website.
My website is www.shelleyhallmark.com. And there's also one that Balboa Press created, which was shelleyhallmarkbooks.com, which has just my books, but my website has, actually my website only has my first book on it. But I was going to say that if, for maybe the first 5 people that contact me through there, I'll send them a free copy of my soft cover of my book, and they just provide me with the address, and I'll pay for it all and send it to them.
Wow, how wonderful is that? Okay, great. And that they can also, for people, and I know there's people all over the world who are listening in, they want to talk to you about their own personal issues. To get some inspiration, they can send you an email.
Definitely. I welcome that. I would love it.
Okay. And that is srhallmark@telus.net. I'll put it up underneath our pictures here and on the everywhere that the show plays, and we'll make sure that they know that they can contact you. And it's always great to talk to somebody who's been through it all to find out and for you to grow. So I highly recommend contacting Shelley. I don't think you're going to regret it because you're just going to get woke. Right? Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on. Best wishes to your beautiful daughter. And thank you. I just feel inspired now.
Thank you so much.
Life's going to be great today.
I think so.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another great show from Law of Attraction Talk Radio. If you'd like to comment on tonight's show, send an email to jules@loaradionetwork.com and have a great week.